with Mario Lopez.
Joining me right now on Zoom, actress and singer Laura Marano. Welcome back to the show.
Ted, how are you?
First of all, please tell me that you're still rocking a flip phone.
I'm right. Are you ready for some changes?
Oh, no.
Changes!
You actually got an iPhone.
In July. I know. Here's the thing. Okay. I was in New Zealand, had to have like a crappy iPhone in New Zealand last year. It was like an iPhone 4 something. And it was my first time ever having an iPhone because my flip phone wasn't working in New Zealand. And I was like, this does make life a little bit easier, but I was still like, no, like flip phone all the way, gonna go. And then I went through a breakup. And you know, when you go through a breakup and you're just kind of like, everything must change now. So it felt like the right time in a weird way to start this new chapter of my life and get an iPhone. So I got an iPhone, but I still have the flip. The flip will always be a part of me. And I still have my iPad. So I don't even know really what's changed. Yeah. But I have an iPhone.
I have to say I'm slightly disappointed that you're not still.
You know what? It was like I had a bit of an identity crisis. I know it sounds silly, but I was a little bit like, who am I if I don't have a flip phone? What do I do?
At least you kept it, so you still have it. You have the memories of the flip phone forever.
Oh my God, yeah. And I have all my flip phones. Like I'm like, do I make an art piece out of this? What do I do? Just
on that same note, I realized recently I've kept all my iPhones over the years, and it's interesting to lay them out and look at them. When you should do that with your flip phones one day, and just I don't know, it'll be in the museum for Laura Marano.
Well, the other thing that made me make this choice was my flip phone. You know, this already happened with me before. 2G got outdated, so they sent me a 3G phone. Then 3G was getting outdated, and they sent me a flip phone that you had to use Wi-Fi on. And I was like, forget this. I don't want to use Wi-Fi on my flip phone. That's the whole point of a flip phone, is I don't want to have Wi-Fi associated with it. So I think when that happened, I was like, well, the flip phone's trying to be a smartphone anyway. Forget that. I'm just going to go for the real thing.
Well, let's talk music because you have a new EP. It drops July 8th. Us. This is the final part of a trilogy. So what went into this final third of this trilogy?
Well, I always knew I wanted to do a trilogy since releasing the first EP. But I think with this one, what's unique about it in terms of the other EPs is that a lot of the music for the other two EPs I'd written quite a bit before. I was at a label. They were all kind of about the same thing. I was falling in love. Some were vulnerable songs. One song on the UEP I'd written a couple months before the UEP was released, and I wrote it by myself, which was very scary but cool. But a lot of the songs were years old. This EP ultimately ended up being a little bit different concept-wise than I was anticipating. It ended up being a breakup EP. And a lot of the music I just wrote, right? A lot of the music I wrote a few months ago, apart from one song. So that feels very representative of what I am currently going through and where my headspace currently is. So it just very much feels like, I know this seems naive to say and stupid to say, so I'm sorry, but it's like life doesn't work out the way you think it's going to, right? It's
right, of course. So are all these songs personal to you, or are you writing some of them in character?
No, not personal to me for sure.
Okay. And even though they're breakup songs, there's sort of a danceable track called Dance With You featuring Gray. How did that collaboration come about?
So that song, it's funny. So this is what I'll say. All of the songs are about the same person. That song, actually, my ex also worked on that song because he's a musician as well. So it feels very connected. So that one, for sure, I will say was inspired by both my relationship at the time, which was full of love, and I was wanting to write a song for the film I was in. So though I still feel it's quite personal to me, that one feels the most disconnected from the rest of the EP because that was written a little bit before. It also was very much, I didn't want to write it for the movie, even though it was inspired by what I was going through. The rest of the songs very much are more in the vein of kind of this Breakup EP.
When you perform these songs, because you're going to go on tour, it's your first big headlining tour coming up, and I'm assuming you're going to perform the majority of these songs.
Yeah.
Do you get all of those emotions sort of flying back to you as you're performing them?
Yeah, it depends, right? It's so funny because it's like you can sometimes feel disconnected when performing because you're focusing so much on the technical, right? I'm focusing on getting the right pitch. I'm focusing on getting the timing right. I'm focusing if I'm playing keyboard at the same time, making sure like that choreography all makes sense. And then you've got all the technical down when you can just strip that away and just focus on actually singing the lyrics. So, there's a few songs I've been working on, whether it's Worst Kind of Hurt, which is quite a personal song to me, or even a few unreleased songs that I'm also going to be performing on tour, that sometimes I work on them and I can tell that I'm really in it because I get a little caught with the emotion. But sometimes I'm disconnected from it totally. I'm kind of like, oh my God, wait, that was a G flat and I need to hit that more. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's like very much focused on the technical.
What are the live shows going to look like? Do you have a huge band with you? Is it more stripped down?
Definitely more stripped down. Definitely very intimate. All right, all the venues that I'm playing are club. It's a club tour. It's quite intimate venues. I'm going to have a drummer. I'm going to have a guitarist who will also sometimes be playing keys and other instruments. He's going to be a rock star. He's also opening for me, Mark Diamond. And then for me, for like half of the set, I'll be standing up, singing on the mic, and the other half I'll be playing keys. And something that I'm really excited about to do, I did this virtual concert series last year where I played a song for my UEP and then I showed unreleased music. And my fans really loved that. It was actually a really beautiful thing, showing them songs that I was currently working on. So what I'm going to be doing is every night, it feels a little ambitious, so I'm nervous to say it, but every night I'm going to be taking my songbook and playing a different unreleased song on keys. Songs maybe I've just written, maybe songs I wrote a few months ago, maybe songs that I wrote a couple years ago, and just these songs might not ever get released. They're just kind of songs I have that I want to share with them that night. That's
really cool because you're giving fans a unique experience at each show that people in a different city aren't going to get, which is really awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of the thought. I did want each show to feel different. And it just felt like a really authentic thing for me to do because I was doing that anyway last year. And it was a really cool thing for me to connect with my fans.
And you're still acting, of course. There's a Netflix rom-com called Choose Love. What can you tell me about that?
I can't say much quite yet, but I can say what's already out, which is it's an interactive choose your own adventure rom-com. So you as the user, did you ever see Black Mirror, the interactive?
Yes, I saw a few of them, yeah.
Okay, there was an interactive episode called Bandersnatch where you as the user got to choose choices. So this is like the happy version. This is like, it's the first rom-com to do this. You are in charge of how the story ends. And I don't say that lightly. Like, I will say what's also really cool about this project is you very much can change like how the story goes extremely. There's 3 guys my character has like a romantic interest / relationship with, and it's up to you to decide who I'm ending up with. So we had to film every version, every option. It was like we filmed 3 movies in one. It was nuts.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, that seems like that would be a lot more work for the actors because you're creating all this additional content that the viewers then get to sort of pick and choose and choose your destiny for you. And
like, not to be super actory about it, but you would react differently in this universe because you made those choices than you would react if you made those other choices. So I also have to have a different spin on the same scene. Some scenes are really similar but have slightly different dialogue. It was like the most intense project of my life. My brain was about to explode. And I actually had a few crew members at the end. It was such a beautiful group of people, such a beautiful like crew and actors and everything. But I had a few crew members at the end be like, oh, I'm so sad this is ending. Like, it was such an awesome job and it was such an easy job. And I was like, oh, I love you, but I'm gonna slap you. I'm like,
maybe it was easy for you. I had to create three different worlds for people to choose. That's and there's a comedy. There's a comedy in a pig. What can you tell me about that?
Not much. It's like it's you're like, what can you tell me about that?
Nothing.
Well, that project, I love that script. But like a lot of acting projects, which is sometimes what's frustrating about acting is it's not necessarily greenlit yet. So I got attached to it before it necessarily had the financing. Still hasn't secured that financing. Very typical in the acting world, super fun. But I love the script. It's really cool. It's a very different character. So if I ever do get to do that movie and play that character, I'll be very excited.
And what else are you wanting to sort of do? Like, you're doing music, you're doing acting. Is there anything else that like you're really like wanting to get into or wanting to venture out outside of the things you're already doing?
I really want to finish school. So I'm like, I go to college part-time. And I've been there for years and I'm probably not going to graduate till I'm like 37. But I do at one point want to finish. I am doing what I want as my career anyway, which I'm quite lucky about. But I do love going to school. Like both my parents are teachers. For me, it's nice because it kind of takes me out of the entertainment bubble and makes me very much fully realize how big of a world it is besides just the entertainment world. And that's really good for me. So I do want to do that. When I'm going to do that, I don't know, but I am going to do it.
At least you're still going. I dropped out after like 2 years and then.
By the way, that's totally fine too.
No, it is. It is, but it's one of those things where in the back of my head, it's one of those things I don't like not finishing things. So,
yes, same.
So I actually, one of my old professors reached out to me and was like, maybe we'll get you an honorary degree. I was like, yeah, let's do that. That's much easier.
That's awesome. Are you kidding me? I want to go. I know I'm going to be the oldest person there, which will be really awkward. But I want to like go in the classroom. Like, I love that feeling. I do. You're like, ooh, am I going to say something stupid when the teacher calls on me? I don't know. But I did have that feeling. I'm like, oh man, I'm pretty old and like I can buy everyone. Like I would be the person who could have like buy alcohol and none of them would me. And yes. I'm like, that's like a really horrific feeling to feel like the creepy uncle who's like, if one of like my classmates were like, oh, could you give me some beer? And I'd have to be like, no, kid, I can't.
That's illegal. I would never do that.
Exactly. In that voice.
Yes.
So that's the one where I'm like, ooh, I am in a different time of life, age-wise and all the different things. But I don't know. I think I'd still be down to get in a classroom and learn and be a part of that classroom scene again. Well, hopefully you do that, and I know you will ultimately finish that. You may be 70 years old, but you know what? Keep going. You'll finish it. It'll be good. And Us drops July 8th on iHeartRadio and wherever else you get music. OnWithMario.com for info on the tour. Laura, thanks for checking in. Thank you so much. Have such a great day. Good to talk to you. On with Mario Lopez.